You're about to discover why you keep failing at the same goals year after year. And it has nothing to do with discipline or willpower. The real reason is happening automatically, unconsciously, in the first moments after you open your eyes each morning. Your brain is asking questions. It's searching for what to focus on, what to prioritize, what's important. And because you've never intentionally programmed those questions, your brain defaults to fear, doubt, and survival mode. It shows you everything that could go wrong, everything you lack. Every reason today will be difficult. This isn't your fault, but it is your responsibility to fix. The top achievers in every field, the ones consistently winning while others struggle, they've cracked the code on morning mental programming. They speak 4 specific statements out loud every single morning, and those statements create a completely different operating system in their minds. Not motivation that fades by noon, not positive thinking that ignores reality, but strategic mental conditioning that changes how you see, think, and act all day long. Your eyes open. That first moment of consciousness arrives like it does every single morning. And right there, in those precious first 30 seconds, your entire day is being written. Most people don't realize this. They let their minds run on autopilot, replaying yesterday's problems, anticipating today's challenges, hitting the snooze button on their potential. Research shows that 78% of people's first thoughts are negative or worried. They wake up already defeated, already anxious, already behind. But here's what the top achievers in every field understand. Those first thoughts are not random. They are programmable. They are controllable. And they determine everything. Think about this for a moment. You will have approximately 60,000 thoughts today. 60,000 separate mental events that will shape your decisions, your energy, your interactions, and your results. But which thoughts will dominate? Which thoughts will set the tone? The answer is simple and profound. The ones you choose first. Your morning thoughts are like the rudder on a massive ship. A tiny adjustment at the beginning creates a massive change in direction by the end of the day. Over the course of a year, these small morning adjustments create an entirely different destination over the course of a lifetime. They create an entirely different life. The problem is that most people wake up and immediately surrender control. They reach for their phone and let someone else's agenda infiltrate their mind. They rehearse their worries, they focus on what they lack, they think about how tired they feel, how much they have to do, how unfair their circumstances are. And the brain, being the magnificent machine it is, says, okay, you want to focus on problems, let me show you every problem in your life with crystal clarity. And that's exactly what happens. But successful people, people who consistently achieve their goals and create extraordinary lives, they do something different. They understand that self-talk is not optional. You are already talking to yourself every moment of every day. The question is whether you are doing it intentionally or accidentally. Are you programming your mind or letting it program itself? There is a fundamental law of psychology that cannot be broken. You become what you think about most of the time. Not sometimes, not occasionally, most of the time. Your thoughts are creating your reality right now, whether you believe it or not, whether you like it or not. This is not mystical thinking. This is neuroscience. Your brain has a function called the reticular activating system. It's like a filter that determines what information gets through to your conscious awareness. When you tell yourself something repeatedly, especially in the morning when your mind is most receptive, you literally program this filter. You tell your brain what to look for, what to focus on, and what matters. And your brain, being obedient, shows you exactly that. So let me give you the first powerful thing you must tell yourself every single morning before anything else. Before checking your phone, before worrying about your schedule, before doing anything. This is foundational. This is where personal power begins. I am in complete control of my response to everything. Say it out loud right now. Feel those words. Because this statement is the difference between being a victim and being a victor. Most people spend their entire lives believing that circumstances control them. They believe that what happens to them determines how they feel, how they act, what they achieve. This is the greatest lie ever told, and most people believe it without question. Let me tell you about William. He was 52 years old, working in the same manufacturing plant for 28 years, reliable, consistent, showed up every day. Then one Tuesday afternoon, they called him into the office and let him go. Budget cuts. Nothing personal, just business. Now, William had a choice in that moment, actually. He had the same choice we all have every single moment. He could control his response, or he could let the circumstance control him. William went home that evening and sat with his wife at the kitchen table. He told her what happened, and then he said something that changed everything. He said, "I don't control what they did, but I control what I do next." Within 3 days, William had contacted 17 former colleagues. Within 2 weeks, he had 3 job interviews. Within 5 weeks, he had a position that paid more than his previous job and offered better conditions. But here's the crucial part. None of that would have happened if William had chosen the victim response. If he had spent his time being angry, bitter, paralyzed by fear. You see, we don't control the economy. We don't control what other people say or do. We don't control traffic, weather, or 1,000 other external factors. But we control something far more important, our response. And our response is everything. It determines our attitude, our actions, our results, and ultimately our destiny. When you wake up tomorrow morning and tell yourself, "I am in complete control of my response to everything," you are claiming your power back. You are refusing to be a leaf blown by the wind of circumstances. You are taking responsibility, and responsibility is another word for power. Think about your typical day. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Your response. A colleague takes credit for your idea. Your response. A client cancels. Your response. Your child misbehaves. Your response. Every single situation is neutral until you respond to it. Your response gives it meaning. Your response determines the outcome. This is not about pretending bad things don't happen. This is not about toxic positivity or denying reality. This is about recognizing where your actual power lives. It lives in the space between what happens and what you do about it. That space is your kingdom. That space is where you rule absolutely. Now that you've claimed control over your responses, you need direction. Because control without direction is like having a powerful car with no destination. You'll burn fuel going nowhere. This brings us to the second powerful thing you must tell yourself every morning. And this one separates the dreamers from the achievers. Today I will take one action toward my most important goal. Listen carefully. Most people confuse activity with accomplishment. They stay busy all day and wonder why their lives never change. They work hard, they hustle, they check off their to-do lists. And yet 5 years later, they're in exactly the same place. Why? Because they're trapped in the urgency cycle. The phone rings, they answer. The email arrives, they respond. The crisis erupts, they react. Their entire day is spent responding to other people's priorities while their own dreams collect dust. Here's a truth that will change your life if you accept it. There is a difference between urgent and important. Urgent things demand attention. They scream at you, they create stress and pressure. But important things whisper. They sit quietly in the corner of your mind saying, "When are you going to get to me?" And most people never do. They die with their book unwritten, their business unstarted, their potential unrealized. Not because they were lazy, not because they lacked talent, but because they never took consistent action toward what truly mattered. Let me tell you about Linda. She was a night shift nurse, working 12-hour shifts 3 or 4 times a week, divorced, raising 2 teenagers alone, barely keeping her head above water financially. And she had this dream. She wanted to write a book about helping families navigate healthcare decisions. She'd seen so many families confused, scared, making poor choices because they didn't understand the system. She knew she could help, but when would she find the time? She was exhausted. Her schedule was packed. There was always something more urgent demanding her attention. Then Linda learned this principle, one action, just one, every single day. So she started waking up 15 minutes earlier, just 15 minutes. And in those 15 minutes, before her kids woke up, before the chaos of the day began, she wrote. Some days it was 200 words, some days it was 50, some days it was just an outline for a chapter. But every single day, she took one action toward her most important goal. Do you know what happened? 18 months later, Linda held her published book in her hands. 320 pages, 60,000 words, 18 months of 15-minute sessions. She didn't wait for perfect conditions. She didn't wait until she had more time, more energy, more resources. She just took one action every day, and those actions compounded. This is the compound effect in action. You've heard about compound interest with money. Put aside a small amount regularly, and over time, it grows exponentially. The same principle applies to your goals. One small action seems insignificant, but one action repeated daily for a year, that's 365 actions. That's transformational. The person who writes one page a day has a book in a year. The person who makes one sales call a day has reached 365 potential clients in a year. The person who learns one new skill component daily has mastered that skill in a year. But here's why this statement is so powerful when you say it every morning. It removes overwhelm. When you look at your big goal, your mind might panic. How will I ever achieve that? It's too big, it's too far away. But when you commit to just one action today, that's manageable. That's doable. Your brain stops resisting and starts cooperating. You're not asking yourself to climb the entire mountain. You're just asking yourself to take one step. And one step is always possible. The key is identifying your most important goal, not your most urgent task, not what everyone else thinks you should do, your most important goal, the one that, if achieved, would fundamentally change your life. Maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's a health transformation, maybe it's launching a business, repairing a relationship, or developing a skill. Whatever it is, you know it. It's the thing that whispers to you in quiet moments. It's the thing you think about when you allow yourself to dream. Now comes the third powerful statement, and this one changes how you see everything that happens to you throughout the day. I choose to see opportunity in every situation. This statement is not about being naive or pretending problems don't exist. This is about training your mind to look for solutions instead of dwelling on difficulties. It's about recognizing that every situation contains seeds of equal or greater benefit. Not sometimes, every time. But most people never find those seeds because they never look for them. Your mind is like a search engine. Whatever you ask it to find, it will find. If you wake up asking what's wrong, what could go wrong, what's unfair, your mind will show you a world full of problems. But if you train yourself to ask, where's the opportunity here? What can I learn? How can this make me better? Your mind will show you possibilities everywhere. Consider Gerald. He owned a small restaurant in a busy downtown area for 15 years. His business thrived, regular customers, steady income, comfortable life. Then everything changed overnight. The pandemic hit. Lockdowns began. His dining room sat empty. His revenue dropped 92% in 2 weeks. Gerald could have focused on what he lost. He could have been angry, bitter, paralyzed. Instead, he asked himself one question: where's the opportunity? He noticed people were cooking at home but missing restaurant-quality food. He saw meal kit services exploding in popularity. Within 3 weeks, Gerald had completely transformed his business. He created signature meal kits with pre-portioned ingredients and his secret sauces. He partnered with a local delivery service. He taught virtual cooking classes where customers could cook alongside him. His revenue didn't just recover, it doubled. He discovered a whole new market that had always existed but he'd never served. The crisis forced him to see an opportunity he would have missed otherwise. This is not luck, this is mindset. When you tell yourself every morning that you choose to see opportunity in every situation, you're programming your reticular activating system to filter reality differently. You're telling your brain, show me the possibilities. Every situation that happens today will contain both problems and opportunities. Both are there. Which one you see depends entirely on what you've trained your mind to look for. When you face a setback, an opportunity-minded person asks, what can I learn from this? How does this redirect me towards something better? What skill do I need to develop because of this? A problem-minded person asks, why does this always happen to me? Why is life so unfair? What else will go wrong? Same situation, completely different results, because questions determine focus, and focus determines outcomes. Think about this historically. Every major innovation came from someone seeing opportunity where others saw only problems. The Wright brothers saw opportunity in the problem of human flight. Edison saw opportunity in the problem of darkness. Entrepreneurs build fortunes by solving problems others complain about. The difference is perspective. The difference is training your mind to automatically search for the advantage, the lesson, the hidden benefit. This doesn't mean you ignore reality or pretend challenges don't exist. It means you refuse to stop at the problem. You acknowledge it. Then immediately move to, now, what's possible? What doors does this open? How do I turn this to my advantage? This is not positive thinking. This is strategic thinking. This is how winners operate in every field. When you start your morning declaring that you choose to see opportunity in every situation, you're building a mental muscle. Like physical exercise, it gets stronger with practice. The first few times it feels forced, your brain resists, it wants to default to worry and complaint because that's the pattern it knows. But push through, keep asking better questions, keep looking for possibilities. Within 30 days, this becomes automatic. Your brain starts finding opportunities before you consciously look for them. You become someone who sees what others miss. You become invaluable because while everyone else is paralyzed by problems, you're already implementing solutions. Now we come to the fourth and final powerful statement you must tell yourself every single morning. This one protects you from the comparison trap that destroys more potential than any external obstacle ever could. I am becoming better than I was yesterday. Not better than your neighbor, not better than your colleague or your sibling or that person on social media with the perfect life. Better than you were yesterday. This distinction is absolutely critical because the fastest way to kill your motivation is to measure yourself against someone else's highlight reel. Social comparison is a disease of the mind. You look at someone else's success and feel inadequate. You look at their achievements and discount your own progress. You look at where they are and forget how far you've come. This is insane. You are not competing with them. You are competing with the person you were yesterday. That's the only comparison that matters. That's the only competition that's real. Let me tell you about Richard. He was a salesman in a large company, consistently middle of the pack in performance. Not terrible, not great, average. And it frustrated him because he saw colleagues hitting huge numbers while he struggled. He'd watch them close deals and think, why can't I do that? What's wrong with me? His confidence eroded, his performance declined further. He was trapped in the comparison spiral. Then Richard changed his approach completely. He stopped looking at the leaderboard. He stopped measuring himself against others. Instead, he created what he called his personal benchmark system. Every evening, he identified 3 things he did better than the day before. Maybe he asked better questions in a client meeting. Maybe he followed up more promptly. Maybe he researched a prospect more thoroughly. 3 specific improvements. That's all he focused on. The first week felt awkward. The improvements seemed tiny, almost meaningless, but Richard kept going. Week 2, he noticed his confidence returning. Week 4, his numbers started climbing. Week 12, he cracked the top 10 performers. By month 6, Richard was number 3 in the entire company, not because he became a different person overnight, because he became 1% better every single day. Those small improvements compounded into extraordinary results. This is the power of the Japanese concept called kaizen, continuous improvement, small, incremental progress that seems insignificant in the moment but creates massive transformation over time. When you improve 1% each day for a year, you don't end up 1% better. The math of compounding means you end up 37 times better. 37 times. Not because you had some dramatic breakthrough, but because you consistently got a tiny bit better. But here's what most people miss. You have to measure the right things. If you measure yourself against arbitrary standards or other people's achievements, you'll always feel inadequate. There will always be someone richer, smarter, more successful. That's an unwinnable game. But if you measure yourself against your own baseline, against who you were yesterday, you can win every single day. You control that measurement completely. Your evening audit becomes sacred. Before bed, you ask yourself, what did I do today that was better than yesterday? Where did I improve? What did I learn? Some days the improvements are obvious. You handled a difficult conversation better. You exercised when you felt like quitting. You chose the healthy meal over the convenient one. Other days you have to look harder. Maybe you were more patient. Maybe you listened better. Maybe you caught yourself in a negative thought pattern and redirected it. These all count. These all matter. This approach does something profound to your psychology. It eliminates the perfectionism trap. Perfectionism tells you that if you can't do something perfectly, you shouldn't do it at all. It paralyzes you with impossible standards. But the better than yesterday mindset says progress is enough. Movement is enough. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to be better. And better is always achievable. It also reframes setbacks completely. When you have a bad day, and you will have bad days, you don't spiral into self-criticism. You simply ask, what can I learn from this? How will this make tomorrow better? The setback becomes data, not defeat. It becomes information that helps you improve, not evidence that you're inadequate. Now you have all 4 statements, 4 powerful declarations that will transform your mornings and consequently your entire life. But knowing them isn't enough. Understanding them intellectually changes nothing. The transformation happens in the implementation. So let's talk about exactly how to make this work in your real life. Starting tomorrow morning first. Understand the science behind why speaking these statements out loud matters. When you think a thought silently, it activates certain neural pathways. But when you speak that same thought out loud, you engage multiple areas of your brain simultaneously. You activate the speech centers, the auditory centers, and the motor cortex. You hear your own voice declaring these truths. This creates a much deeper neurological imprint. Your subconscious mind pays attention differently when it hears you speak with conviction. This is why affirmations whispered half-heartedly produce no results, while declarations spoken with certainty create profound change. Stand in front of a mirror if possible. Look yourself in the eye. This isn't about vanity. This is about connection. When you look at yourself while speaking these statements, you create a feedback loop. You're not just saying words into the air. You're making a commitment to the person looking back at you. That person is depending on you. That person's future is being shaped by what you declare right now. Your tone matters enormously. Don't mumble. Don't rush through this like you're reading a grocery list. Speak with conviction. Speak like you mean it. Because here's the truth. Your subconscious mind doesn't understand sarcasm or half-hearted commitment. It takes everything literally. If you say these statements with doubt in your voice, you're programming doubt. If you say them with certainty, You're programming certainty. The emotional intensity you bring to this practice determines the speed of your transformation. Now let's address the resistance you're going to feel. Around day 3 or 4, a voice in your head will start questioning this whole process. It will sound very reasonable. It will say things like, "This is silly. You're just talking to yourself. Nothing's really changing. You don't have time for this. It's not working." This voice is not wisdom. This voice is your current programming defending itself. Your old patterns don't want to be replaced. They'll fight to survive. Well, let me tell you about Thomas. He was an engineer, highly analytical, deeply skeptical of anything that sounded remotely like self-help. When a mentor suggested these morning declarations, Thomas rolled his eyes. But because he respected this mentor, he decided to run an experiment. He would do this practice for exactly 30 days and track measurable results. He created a spreadsheet. He rated his daily stress levels, his productivity, his interactions with colleagues, his energy levels, everything quantified. The first week, Thomas felt ridiculous. He almost quit multiple times, but his scientific curiosity kept him going. Week 2, he noticed something. His stress ratings were dropping. He couldn't explain why, but he was handling pressure better. Week 3, his productivity numbers spiked. He was getting more done in less time. By day 30, every single metric had improved. His relationships were better. His work quality was higher. His energy was through the ceiling. Thomas, the skeptic, became a believer, not because of faith, but because of data. The practice worked whether he understood why or not. This is crucial to understand. You don't need to believe it will work. You just need to do it consistently. The results will create the belief, not the other way around. Start before you feel ready. Start before it makes complete sense. Start even if you're skeptical. Just start. Here's your exact morning sequence. You wake up. Before you check your phone, before you do anything else, you stand up, you take 3 deep breaths, you look in the mirror or simply stand with confidence. Then you speak these 4 statements out loud, one after another, with complete conviction. I am in complete control of my response to everything. Today I will take one action toward my most important goal. I choose to see opportunity in every situation. I am becoming better than I was yesterday. This takes 90 seconds. You have 90 seconds. Don't tell yourself you don't have time. You spend more time scrolling mindlessly through your phone. This is 90 seconds that will determine the quality of the next 16 waking hours. It's the highest leverage activity you can possibly do. Then, throughout your day, when challenges arise, and they will arise, you reference back to these statements. Traffic is terrible. I am in complete control of my response to everything. A project falls through. I choose to see opportunity in every situation. You're tired and don't want to take action on your goal? Today I will take one action toward my most important goal. You made a mistake. I am becoming better than I was yesterday. These statements become your operating system. They become the lens through which you interpret everything that happens in the evening. Take 5 minutes to review. Did you honor these declarations today? Where did you succeed? Where did you struggle? What will you do differently tomorrow? This evening audit completes the cycle. It reinforces the learning. It sets you up for an even better tomorrow. The transformation doesn't happen overnight. Nobody does this practice for 3 days and becomes a completely different person. But something does start shifting immediately. You'll notice it first in small moments. You'll catch yourself about to react negatively and you'll pause. You'll remember your morning declaration. You'll choose a better response. That moment right there, that's the beginning of everything changing. 30 days of consistent practice creates a new neural pathway. 60 days strengthens it significantly. 90 days makes it your new default programming. After 90 days, you won't need to force this. It will be automatic. You'll naturally see opportunities where others see obstacles. You'll naturally take action while others procrastinate. You'll naturally control your responses while others are controlled by circumstances. You'll naturally focus on your own growth instead of comparing yourself to others. Think about where you'll be 90 days from now if you commit to this practice. Think about the cumulative effect of 3 months of better choices, better responses, better focus, better mindset. Now think about where you'll be if you don't change anything. Same patterns, same results, same frustrations. The choice is absolutely yours. Your future self is watching this moment right now. And that version of you who exists 90 days from now, 6 months from now, 1 year from now, is hoping you make the right decision. That future version of you is either thanking you for starting this practice today or wondering why you didn't when you had the chance. Nobody else can do this for you. Not your spouse, not your parents, not your boss, not your mentor. This is your responsibility. This is your opportunity. This is your life being shaped by what you tell yourself in those first moments of every morning. Tomorrow morning, your alarm will go off. You'll have that same choice you've always had. Hit snooze and surrender to another day of autopilot living, or stand up, look yourself in the eye, and declare who you're choosing to become. 90 seconds. 4 statements. Infinite possibility. The championship life you want doesn't start when conditions are perfect. It doesn't start when you feel ready. It doesn't start when everything is aligned. It starts tomorrow morning with what you tell yourself. It starts with taking control of your mental programming. It starts with you making a decision that your thoughts will no longer be random, but intentional, strategic, powerful. Everything you want is on the other side of this decision. Better relationships, better health, better finances, better career, better confidence, better results in every area, not because circumstances will magically change, but because you will change. And when you change, everything changes. So here's my final question to you. Not tomorrow, not someday, tomorrow morning. When your eyes open and you have those precious first seconds of consciousness, what are you going to tell yourself? Are you going to let your mind run wild with worry and doubt? Or are you going to program it with power and purpose? The choice is yours. It has always been yours, and it will always be yours. Choose wisely, choose intentionally, choose greatness. Your extraordinary life is waiting for you, just 90 seconds away from beginning. Start tomorrow morning. Take control, take action, see opportunity become better. This is how champions are built. This is how lives are transformed. This is how you become the person you were always meant to be. One morning at a time, one declaration at a time, one choice at a time. Your time is now.